So, Martin, thank you very much for joining us today. I want to ask you about mobile. It's one of the key innovative mediums that we have. How important do you think it is to driving the future growth of marketing?
Well, I think I'd agree totally with that, 150% with that. The problem post-Lehman, that's post-September 2008, is that clients, I think, have been focusing too much on cost and not enough on the top line. The key to success, as Jeremy Bullmore, who used to be chairman of JWT in the UK, and is, in my view, is the best writer still in the advertising industry anywhere in the world, including China and Asia and everywhere else. Jeremy Bullmore always says there's no limit to what you can do in terms of increasing top line growth, at least until you get to 100% market share, whereas there is a finite limit to reducing cost. And what we've forgotten since September 2008 in particular, and in these relatively low inflationary times at least yet, is this focus on the top line. Many companies are missing their quarterly earnings or their earnings because of lack of top line growth, particularly in a world where worldwide GMP is only growing 3% real and about 5% nominal. So the issue about focus on the top line, which is the lifeblood of the advertising and marketing services industry, is absolutely critical. And I think that clients will start to think that way much more clearly, particularly now, because they know that they can't get there by just cutting costs.
It's got to be said that change happens very slowly sometimes, and I think that consumers are way ahead of most brands and agencies in terms of their adoption of mobile. What role do you see agencies have got in helping clients immerse and integrate mobile into the marketing mix?
Well, I think, to be fair, clients are already aware that mobile is or should be integral to their marketing plans. The question of adoption really comes because of these technological developments that we've talked about, also because the implementation of these technological advances is slower. The implementation is slower than we probably would like. I mean, we know that, for example, that clients and ourselves invest about 20% of our budgets in press, newspapers and magazines, and we know that consumers only spend 10% of their time with those media. We know, on the other hand, that we're only investing about 20% on internet and mobile, and we know that consumers spend about a third of their time on internet and mobile. So there are these discontinuities which take time to iron out. They will get ironed out, but they do take time. You have to remember that this generation is just graduating from American universities, for example, is the first generation that has lived from the day they pop their head out of the womb to the day they graduate with the internet. So it's a relatively new development, and this is the first generation. So it will change as those people become consumers, as they control budgets in companies more. Obviously, they will be more aware than previous generations of the significance of these shifts. So I think, by and large, it's a question of time. But the advent of new technologies or implementation of new technologies like smartphones is going to speed the process. What we have to do is to make sure our agencies, our traditional agencies, our digital agencies, and then where we experiment with investments, we're a strategic venture capitalist, where we experiment, those three pillars, those three channels of development are ready, willing and able to take on mobile.
So what's currently driving the growth of mobile?
Clearly, the increasing penetration of smartphones. I was having a conversation in China yesterday, and the person I was speaking to, Hugo Shong, who is now on the board of WPP, a famous venture capitalist here in China, said that we're at about 200 million smartphones here in China. By the time we get to 400 million in a short period of time, that will be the tipping point, the breakthrough point for mobile adoption. So far, of the, say, 20% of worldwide spending that is invested in the internet, so something only like half or 1% of that of that total spending. So that's 1% out of the 20%, leaving another 19 on the other forms of digital communication. That 0.5 to 1% is where we are at the moment, but that will be a breakthrough, or there will be a breakthrough on that spending when smartphones are adopted more significantly.
What's your vision for the role that mobile plays within WPP?
Well, I think I've touched on it a little bit before. I mean, I do think we have to encourage the three channels, if you like, the traditional agencies, to think more about mobile, just as we have search, video, display, and social. And mobile is probably the fifth leg of that stool of digital, that digital stool, that I think is critically important. So we have to encourage our traditional agencies to think about that fifth leg, mobile, the most important one. We have to get our digital agencies, such as our four Forrester digital leaders, Wunderman, Ogilvy One, AKQA, and VML, to think more and more about mobile in the context of what they do. And last but not least, we have to experiment by investing as a strategic VC in these new areas of opportunity, one of which is mobile.
How important is mobile in closing the loop of communications? Is it the final piece of the jigsaw puzzle?
I would say that mobile and mobility is critically important. So in a sense, you could argue that mobile closes the loop completely, that having a device which is literally 24/7 and available to you as a consumer 24/7 enables you to get information, search, to have a conversation with your friends, to watch advertising if you're that way inclined, and display, to watch video, and last but not least, as I said, to have those social conversations. That's critically important. So mobile really is the platform, the enabler, and therefore is extremely important in this whole digital evolution or even revolution. What's interesting to my mind is this balance now between the medium and the message. I mean, you could argue that the medium is now equal to the message, or even maybe even more important than the message. So this juxtaplay or juxtaposition between media agencies and creative agencies is critically important. And what we are at WPP is the full service agency of the 21st century. We have advertising, we have media, investment management as we call it, consumer insight, public relations and public affairs, branding and identity, healthcare, and digital. And what we're trying to do is to play across all of those areas and integrate it into a complete, important delivery system.
What percentage of your investment comes from mobile, and where will that be in 3 years' time?
Well, 3 years' time is a relatively short period of time, I think, but I would expect certainly our digital revenues are coming, or mobile digital revenues, to be at least sort of 3 or 4% of our revenues worldwide. At the moment, I would say it's probably about 1.5%, maybe 2%. And I see you would get at least a percentage growth each year, taking you into the 3, 4, 5 category within 1, 2, 3 years.
It's often said that Asia is the mobile market, or at least the most mobile region in the world. From your experience and from your perspective, what role does mobile play in these fast-growing economies across Asia?
These fast-growing markets really have a spectacular advantage because they've really migrated, they've leapfrogged the PC phase. We went from traditional media to personal computers to mobile and then smartphones. What's happened in the fast-growing markets, they've leapfrogged the personal computer stage, gone straight to mobile and smartphones, and as a result they're much quicker into the game, into the mobile game and game and mobile adaptation. So we're going to see faster take-up of mobile devices and I think mobile advertising in these faster growing and much more important markets as they grow and grow and grow. Of course, with the rise of consumption, with the rise of the urban middle class and lower middle class, these mobile devices are going to be critically important. So I think you will see probably a faster take-up of these mobile devices. For example, it amazes me that in Kenya you have M-Pesa and that people use a mobile form of payment in this way, and it hasn't been adopted in other economies as rapidly as it has in a country like Kenya. So clearly, mobile development, whether it's in Asia or Latin America or Africa and the Middle East or Central and Eastern Europe, is going to become more and more important.
Finally, I know you have to go, but what's your general take on 2014? Are you optimistic about the future of marketing?
I'm very bullish on marketing. I'm bullish because of globalization, the shift to the east and the south and the southeast, if you like, to including Africa and the Middle East, as well as China and India, etc., and Latin America. I'm very bullish because of the overcapacity in most industries and the shortage of human capital, which makes talent even more important and more productive in that sense. I'm bullish because of the rise of the web, the disintermediation. You get the disintermediation by low-cost business models, and the fact that smaller, less bureaucratic, more entrepreneurial technology companies are destinations for talent, so that makes the war for talent even more acute. I'm bullish because of the power of retailing and the pressure that puts on manufacturers, and the growth that e-commerce companies such as Amazon, the traction that is giving manufacturers in their confrontation with retail. I'm bullish because of internal communications are becoming more and more important, explaining strategic and structural change internally as well as externally, or probably more importantly internally as well as externally. I'm bullish because government has become more important as a result of the Lehman crisis, as not just an investor or a regulator or an intervener, but as a force for changing things, and that's unlikely to go away for a long period of time. I'm bullish because companies are becoming more centralized, but they're also becoming more localized. We at WPP have country managers who are focused on making sure we have the best people, making sure that we're working with the best local companies, and last but not least, the best acquisitions. I'm bullish because the balance between marketing and finance and procurement has probably got out of kilter, and there has to be a focus on the top line as well as the bottom line. So I'm bullish because all our clients, without exception, have embraced CSR, corporate social responsibility, or sustainability, because doing good is quite simply good business. It's nothing more sophisticated or complicated than that. People understand if you want to build brands for the future, corporate brands, products, service brands, you have to invest in brands and you have to invest in sustainability. Doing good, as I said, is good business. So for all those reasons, I'm very bullish about what we do. Obviously, mobile and digital is a part of it, but I think the growing recognition that top-line growth is the way to cash in on all opportunities, the way to deal with growth rather than focusing on cost. There's a finite limit to that, whereas there's an infinite amount you can do if you expand the top line. And we're absolutely critical, the advertising and marketing services industry, in making sure that happens. So have a wonderful time at the conference. Sorry I couldn't be there, and hope to see you very soon.